Time temperature abuse can lead to foodborne illness. Controlling time temperature abuse of potentially hazardous food is one step in the prevention of foodborne illness. Potentially hazardous food remaining at ambient temperature for an extended length of time may become unsafe to eat due to pathogens, harmful bacteria that have multiplied within the food. Potentially hazardous foods must be handled by controlling the amount of time it is held in the temperature danger zone. When potentially hazardous food is held at the correct temperature, pathogen growth is held in check, thus reducing the risk of foodborne illness. This slide lists potentially hazardous foods we're familiar with, including meats, gravies, milk, custard, meats, and potato salad. Many of these fall into the protein category. Additional foods include cut fruits and vegetables, cooked legumes, cooked vegetables, cooked rice, and cooked noodles. Foods that are low in moisture are typically not potentially hazardous, but once water is added and they are cooked, they become potentially hazardous food. Which one of these foods in its current state is potentially hazardous? Well, obviously the milk, cheese, eggs, poultry, and even that cut orange. The other foods, assuming the pasta is uncooked, would be not potentially hazardous. The temperature danger zone is very important in food service operation. Pathogens love to multiply in the temperature danger zone, and their number may even double in as little as 20 minutes. Food must spend as little time as possible between 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 135 degrees Fahrenheit to reduce the risk of foodborne illness. If food does creep into the temperature danger zone, one of two things must happen. Hot food must be quickly reheated to an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit, or food must be quickly chilled to an internal temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Obviously, if the food you start out with is cold, it would need to be quickly chilled. Food cannot be held in the temperature danger zone for more than 4 hours. After 4 hours, it must be discarded. This includes the time it takes to prepare the food, cook the food, and serve the food. If rapidly cooling, food can remain in the temperature danger zone for 6 hours. Why the time difference? Bacteria love to multiply at 98 degrees Fahrenheit, so when the food temperature is below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, bacterial division is slowed. Here are some key temperatures in food safety. Of special note, 135 degrees Fahrenheit for hot holding, such as on the steam table. 165 degrees Fahrenheit for reheating foods, every food. And remember that these temperatures are final cook temperatures, internal temperatures for 15 seconds. For example, pork is final cook temperature of 155 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. Rapid cooling is a key component of safe food handling. When potentially hazardous foods are left over from meal service, we must ensure it remains safe to eat through rapid cooling. The times and temperatures include 135 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit in 2 hours, and then 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 41 degrees Fahrenheit in 4 hours. Here's an example of a cooling log. Every item you cool, no matter how small, must have a record. The record must be completed accurately to ensure the safety of the food for the next food service worker's peace of mind and the safety of the resident client. We have talked about time temperature abuse, temperature danger zone, and rapid cooling. To become effective in preventing foodborne illness, you must also observe kitchen operations. The following tasks will guide you in what to look for when evaluating the success of your food service operation in fighting time temperature abuse. Time temperature abuse can begin before food even reaches your kitchen. When receiving foods, ensure that the cold foods are cold, 41 degrees or lower. Frozen foods must be solid without ice crystals. Ice crystal formation suggests the food's been thawed and refrozen. Refuse food if it doesn't meet your specifications. Once the food is accepted, move it to cold food storage as soon as possible. Don't let it sit in the kitchen or on the loading dock. Observe the cold food storage areas of your kitchen. Make sure the refrigerator thermometer in the refrigerator reads 41 degrees Fahrenheit or below. Probe a potentially hazardous food in the refrigerator with a clean, sanitized thermometer to determine what the internal temperature of the food is. The freezer should be kept at 0 degrees and foods inside should be solid. Observe how your staff thaws food. Thawing in the refrigerator is best practices, but even the best staff will forget to pull an item from the freezer. When that happens, the items should be submerged under cool, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, running water for a maximum of 2 hours. Also, microwaving and cooking are approved thawing methods. Observe food preparation practices. How long is potentially hazardous food sitting on the counter during food prep? When a cold entree is prepared, how quickly is it chilled to 41 degrees Fahrenheit? What are the final cook temperatures of the hot food products? What temperature is food reheated to? Transportation of food is also important. How is the facility transporting sack lunches to ensure their safety? Making sure that the food is not allowed to reach the temperature danger zone. Mechanically altered foods seem to go to our frailest residents and clients. Typically, the food will dip into the danger zone when being pureed or ground. This food must be reheated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit before being placed on the steam table. While on the tray line, food must be held at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. All food should be held on the steam table at 135 degrees or higher. Food should be served within 30 minutes of being plated. Remember that picnic and special meals require the same temperature monitoring as the food being prepared in the kitchen. Observe cooling logs. Look in the refrigerator for items that may have been cooled. Ask staff for the cooling logs for those items. Look to see that the cooling logs have been filled out correctly. The following few slides provide a simple quiz to determine the effectiveness of this mini lesson on time temperature control. What foods must be cooked to an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds? Fish, rabbit, chicken, ground beef. The answer is chicken. Which of the following is not a potentially hazardous food? Cooked rice, peeled banana, fresh baked bread, sushi. Of course, the answer is fresh baked bread. Staff advises you the refrigerator doesn't seem to be working. What do you do first? Complain about the old equipment? Tell staff to avoid opening the refrigerator door? Call maintenance? Note the time the refrigerator went out and the internal temperature of the potentially hazardous food item. Note the time and temperature. It's important to know when the refrigerator starts malfunctioning and what the internal temperature of the food is. And remember, we can only hold food within the temperature danger zone for 4 hours. So we either want to use that food within that 4 hours or discard it after the 4 hours. During the puree process, the beef brisket temperature falls to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Before serving, the staff should place the pan of food on the steam table, reheat the food to 165 degrees Fahrenheit quickly, throw the food away, rapidly cool food from 125 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit in 2 hours, and from 70 degrees Fahrenheit to 41 degrees Fahrenheit in 4 hours. The answer is rapidly reheating the food to 165 degrees Fahrenheit unless the food was being held for storage. What do you do when observing food time temperature abuse? Refuse to eat the food, take corrective action, and in service, call the health department, walk away. When observing improper food handling practices, we must stop them immediately and ask the question, am I certain this food is safe to eat? Always, when in doubt, throw it out. Successful food service operations continuously audit in-service and reevaluate practices. Staff training is vital in maintaining safe food handling practices, thus reducing the risk of foodborne illness. This concludes Module 3 of the Safe Food Handling series. Visit rdoffice.net for more training videos and continuing education programs. I'm Linda Roberts.